We are entirely forced by cause and effect.
Are you going to answer the question? Is anyone
No,
forcing
not
you?
one person.
Is anyone forcing you to speak to me right now?
Because you're loading the question with a person.
No, it's not a loading
It is,
anything.
you're saying
It's a very simple
the answer
question.
is no, but that implies I have free will, which I don't.
No.
If something is
If no one is
predetermined-
forcing you,
if something is predetermined and there's a punishment,
if no one is
element,
forcing you,
it can't be free
if
will.
no one is forcing you, then you cannot say someone has snatched away your free
If
will.
something is predetermined,
There you go.
and there's a
You
You know,
punishment
you guys are
You're
contradicting
buying-
yourself.
no, you are. You're
guys
buying
are
into
contradicting
paradox.
yourself because you do not understand that this free will, which is actually a gift to every human being, regardless of whether they're good or evil, is something that you should have gratitude for. Because the angels haven't been given this free will.
We can
The
have
angels,
free will, or
the
he's
angels,
not all knowing,
the
or
angels
he's all
who are
knowing and we don't have it.
who live their entire life maybe
predetermined.
prostrating and praying to God, they haven't been given this free will, which human beings have been given regardless of whether you're good or evil.
I know,
So
but
take this
Before you
free
were
will,
born- before you were born,
take this free will
Allah knows.
and make the most of
Allah knows
it. Do
what
not
you were gonna
question
do.
Allah
Did
what
Allah
He's going to
know-
do to you now
Wait.
when you have the chance to do and obey Him.
Before you were born, did Allah know what you were going to do?
Allah knows everything.
There you
So He
go.
knew what you were going to do.
Allah knows everything, but do you know?
Before you were born.
Do you know?
Of course I don't know.
Good. If you don't
Allah
know,
knows.
wait a minute. If you don't know, why do you think negatively that you're going to hell?
I didn't say that.
Wait, who?
Should you not? Okay. Should you not work for going to paradise?
But we can't. It's predetermined.
It's predetermined.
Yeah, but you don't know that. What is predetermined? How do you know you're going to paradise or hell? How do you know that?
No, Allah knows you're going to go already.
No, but how do you know that?
Because it says in the Quran, doesn't it?
No, because everything.
He's all-knowing.
No. You don't understand my question. My question is not whether Allah is predetermined. My question is, how do you know what He's predetermined for you?
Isn't it predetermined in your?
Oh my God! Do these guys not understand simple English? I don't mean to be condescending.
paradox.
It's a very simple question.
I couldn't
If-
listen to this.
It's a paradox.
Listen to the question again. Did you know that you were going to come to the park here? Did you know you were going to come to the park here?
No, but
Good.
Allah
So
did.
you made the intention to come to the park on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Yes? You knew that. Did someone force you to do that? Good. So is that by your free will or without your free will?
It's by my free will, yeah.
So what's the problem then?
Okay, 10 years ago, he knew
But
that
what's
he
the
was
problem?
gonna
But
come
there wasn't
here.
a
The problem is that simple test I gave you. You can't answer
There's
it.
no
This simple
punishment
test.
element.
Very simple. X and Y.
I answered that already.
You didn't.
But there's no
You made a big mistake
Allah
there.
knows I
No
will
one
choose
said-
X, therefore I cannot choose
But
Y.
do you know what you were going to wait? Did
Doesn't
you know?
matter why I know.
No, it does. Shall I tell you why it does?
Paradox is not about me. It's
No,
about
no.
Allah.
Did somebody force you to choose X?
It's a loaded
It
question.
is not a loaded question. Very simple question. You have two choices. You have two choices to choose
and effect.
to choose X and Y. You have two choices. Did anybody force you to choose either X or Y?
Yes.
Who?
The environment.
What environment?
cause and effect.
What environment? There's only
Everything.
The environment was hidden from
Right
you,
back
and you didn't know in which hand was X or you didn't know which hand was Y. Did anyone force you to pick any one of the hands?
Hashim, it's infinite regression, man. It goes right
No,
back.
it's nothing going to fit. Come
It
on,
is.
that's completely a false equivalence here.
No, it's not.
What I'm saying is that if no one forced you, then it's free will. It's
Yeah,
very
but
simple.
you're bringing in
But
this.
there's a punishment element, isn't it?
It's a paradox for you actually, but it's not
No,
paradox
no,
for me.
it's a paradox for you.
No, it's very simple for me.
there
For
a
me, it was a clear choice.
Is there a punishment
You don't have a choice because Allah
That-
knows the answer.
Look,
There's
Allah-
no choice.
I've already made this very clear that Allah has made the consequence of not obeying Him clear, and Allah has made the reward. Let me finish. Allah has made the reward and the punishment both very clear for obedience and disobedience to Allah. This is clear. So it's not something that you have been given a test which is unfair to you.
Hashim, can we just ask
You,
you another question?
let me finish this question. It's not an unfair test. The test is very clear. You have been given a choice in this life to either disobey or obey Allah. You have been given a guidance. You haven't been sent to this earth unguided. You have been given a guidance. And this guidance is for you, for your free will, for your own self to either choose to obey or disobey. If anyone tells you that you have been forced to disobey or forced to obey, then you got to ask your own conscience.
We know the
Who is
religious
this
paradigm.
forcing me?
We know the religious
Who's
paradigm. but
forcing me?
you're
No, it's
answering
not.
the
You
question.
don't. For you, as far as you're concerned,
No.
all this matter doesn't even mean anything.
That's correct.
Yes. So why are you worried about it?
Because it's
why
a
are you
paradox.
worried? What is a paradox?
For you, it's a paradox.
Even if it's a paradox, what are you worried about? You're just a matter.
Do you accept
For
it's
you, it's just matter of
Hashim, do you accept it's predetermined?
everything is predetermined. Everything.
Predetermined.
Everything's predetermined.
Therefore, we
But
have
you
no
don't-
free will. That's the definition.
Exactly.
That's the definition of free will. It's not predetermined.
I've responded to this many times.
You can't have it both ways,
No,
brother.
I've responded.
I'm sorry.
I've responded to this many
Can I
times.
use an example? I
Wait,
have a
wait.
baby.
He gave an example of choosing X or Y.
Yes.
Let's say I have a baby.
If he didn't know which hand was X and Y, and no one forced him to choose, then as far as you're concerned, no one forced you, right?
You keep saying.
You see, he won't answer that. He will say that is a loaded question because he knows that goes against his
No,
analogy.
it doesn't.
It does. No one
There is
forced
force,
you.
thank you, but-
How is
An effect.
You just have to ponder over every decision you make. There's a precursor to it, so there's a reason why
There's an antecedent.
you came to here.
No, I'm asking you, how was it forced? Let's define force. Force means to coerce someone into doing something against their will. Do you agree with that definition? Coercion. Okay, so when he was asked to choose between X and Y, was there any coercion? As far as he's concerned, was there any coercion?
Yeah, I mean, it's you have to look at the history that leads up to that decision. I mean,
What history?
if you take something simple as the shirt you're wearing, the decision you made, or the food you like, there are reasons why you like it. It's because of the environment you were brought up in. There's a reason why you're Muslim.
No, you misunderstood my question. When I define coercion to you, yes, you agree with the definition that you're not forced into doing something that is against your will.
There can be no coercion.
Okay, so if it is someone, for example, if this shirt I was to wear, yes, by my own will, if no one forced me to do it, can I say that I wore it out of my own volition? I think you guys really have to define what force is.
Hashim, you accept predeterminism and you claim
you have
free will.
to explain to me what is force.
Whatever you do,
The punishment of eternal hell.
No, forget that now. What is force? What is force in the actions that you carry out in this world?
without having a choice.
Okay, so did you have a choice for the t-shirt you're wearing today?
No, not really.
So in your wardrobe, that was the only
There's no
t-shirt?
not really about it, brother.
Wait,
It's
is
zero.
that the only t-shirt in your wardrobe?
No, there's a bunch.
So you did have choice to wear other
You
clothing?
stopped your thinking right there.
Stop. Okay, and then
right there.
what? I
I'm
didn't
saying
stop.
There's a bunch of reasons why I chose this color. I mean, it doesn't show sweat.
No, the question wasn't why you chose that
You've got to
color.
let me finish.
Yeah,
I'm
the,
trying to
the question was, did someone force you
No, but he's not
to choose?
accepting that if it's predetermined.
Okay,
it's
Who
not
was
free
that?
will.
Answer. Go.
not a who.
It's a paradox.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of causes that leads up to your decision.
Answer the question.
What
Who
I'm
was
saying
it?
is,
Who or what was it? Just
every
answer.
choice you make, there's a reason for it. There's a cause for it. There's
no free will.
The more you ponder over it, there's no choice.
I'm not asking for every reason, just for your t-shirt. Can you please answer a simple question?
Okay.
Just focus on
simple
your
answer, Hashim.
okay. Just focus on your t-shirt. That's it. Nothing else.
One, it was in my wardrobe.
Okay, good.
Number two, it
Yes.
was a color that doesn't show sweat.
Okay.
Number three, it's one that was clean.
Okay.
I mean, I have 5 or 6 t-shirts, none of these colors.
How does that answer my question if it was forced?
I've just answered it.
Do you remember the question I asked you?
I've just answered it.
What was my question?
If it's forced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Based on your wait. Based on the answer you just gave me, how was it forced?
Because I can't find, if I use a white t-shirt, I wish I sweat on my shirt, for example.
Okay.
So
You only have choice of white and grey.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but you're
In a
bringing in
simple way.
discretion.
No, you see,
There is no
you see what you have done there. You know what you have done there.
That's the point.
You have, in order to limit your answer, you have chosen only white and grey. Whereas I can tell you for a fact that I'm sure you got more colors in your wardrobe.
Cause and effect.
So there you go. You see, if you cannot even be sincere in your answers to a simple question, then I don't think we can carry out this conversation.
Hashim, I cannot
What you're
believe
saying is that
holding on to the-
if you guys are saying that I've been forced, and you got to tell me, show me how
we
you've been
haven't.
forced.
No, I said he's got free will, but you have not.
No, how is he called a free will? How?
Because and if he doesn't believe in it,
He doesn't even believe in God.
If he doesn't believe
For
in
him,
nothing-
the
nothing-
meaning.
nothing
Wait.
has been
For him,
predetermined for him.
free
There's no
will.
punishment
I
for
don't
him.
even have any
How do you know
choice
that?
in that.
No. For him,
It's already
wait.
decided
For
whether
him,
you're gonna go to
you
hell.
and I and him as well are meaningless of our existence. That is his point of view. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct.
Yes. So do not answer on behalf of other people if you don't know
No, I'm saying
from
an
their
atheist-
point of view.
An atheist could say he has free will.
Look, every atheist.
Some do.
Look,
They'd be
don't
wrong.
put every atheist in one box. Do you realize that Buddhists are atheists? They don't believe in God, but they're spiritual, unlike him. Okay, so for them, they have a purpose. They believe in reincarnation and so on. They believe in life after that. This atheist might not. Not every atheist is the same.
An atheist can argue for free will.
But-
Yeah, but when you say an atheist,
Right, but
you
not
need
all-
to
not
define
all- not
which
all
atheist.
atheists are naturalists, right? So
Which atheist? Is it a naturalist?
No, I'm saying if they wanted to, they could argue.
Is
for
it
free will.
materialist, naturalist, nihilist? Which
I'm saying
atheist?
that they
Hashim
can
does not,
argue for it.
but the fundamental belief that you have, which I find crazy,
Yeah.
as do everybody else, I think, apart from Muslims, is that you're saying that predeterminism does not violate the principle of free will. That's what you're saying, which
If
is
you knew-
utterly ludicrous. It's by
Shall
definition.
I tell you why not? Because if you knew the result of this predetermination,
Not me.
can I finish?
Yeah.
Look, if you knew the result of that predetermination, then you would have a valid point. However, because you don't know what the result of that predetermination is, all you have the option to do in this world is that you go about your daily life not being coerced, let me finish, not being coerced, not being forced, but to obey Allah and His Messenger. If you do that, then you have the promise of paradise. This promise of paradise is such that Allah says in the Quran that He doesn't go back on His promise. Now wait a minute. Once you obey and not disobey Allah and His Messenger, then on the day of judgment, you can ask the question to Allah that why did you make a promise to me that if I do X, Y, and Z, I'll be promised paradise, but now I realize that I haven't. If that is the case, that means you have been promised something and you're not being delivered that particular promise. Then you would have a case on the day of judgment. But as far as you're concerned, as far as I'm concerned, as far as he's concerned, no one is forcing any of us to do anything. Whether you call it a delusion or not.
Nobody's arguing about the delusion of free will.
Is matter a delusion for you?
Sorry, it's what?
Is this matter a delusion?
No, the matter's not a delusion, but the free will is a...
Is your existence a delusion?
No.
Does your existence have a meaning?
No.
Then why are you worried?
Honestly,
why is he worried?
It's not about worried, it's about the fact that you have a contradiction.
Let's say...
Is there a contradiction at all?
I read the Quran,
absolutely 100% a contradiction.
And I read the Quran, I read the Hadith, and I reject it. Will I be punished?
Are you doing that by your own choice?
You don't have one. Predetermined.
Okay,
You're doing it again. You're every time putting words in his mouth. Let him answer by himself. He's a grown man. He's quite capable of answering by himself.
I can't put words in his mouth. He doesn't have any free will.
If you read it by your own choice, then you know what is the consequence that is mentioned in the Quran?
Eternal damnation.
There you go. So you have answered your own question.
I'm going to be punished, and yet it's free will.
No, you're going to be punished. You said it. You're doing it by your own choice. You just said it yourself. He just said it himself that I'm doing it by my own choice. If you're doing something by your own choice, then you should be ready for the consequences as well. Okay, why do you not have a choice? Tell me. Who's forcing you to do anything in this world?
No one's proved free will.
Who's forcing you?
It's all been predetermined according to...
That's not the question. The question is who's forcing you? If you think it is not free will, I'm asking you, why is it not free will when you don't even know the result of Okay, maybe it's been predetermined that you both are going to paradise. Then have you got a complaint?
Complain about what? We're not arguing about paradise. We're arguing about free will denies determinism.
But I just asked him, was it by your choice? He said yes.
Yeah, he misspoke.
Okay, I'll let you both carry out your disagreements. I think they're going in circles.
The delusion is strong.
Well, I think the delusion for you, my friend, that your life is meaningless, you got to worry more about that.
But the point we're making is basically it's impossible to have predetermination and punishment and then say to the person...
for you to keep saying predetermination when you don't even know the outcome of that predetermination, it's quite... To be frank with you, you're worried about something that you don't even know has happened to you so far.
It's already been
you have a choice. Look, you have a choice like you said. I, by my own choice, are going to reject the Quran. Okay? That was your choice, was it not? Answer.
I'm not going to misspeak.
Oh, now you're going to go by this gentleman's terms.
No, because
Come on, have free choice to answer at least, without him telling you what you should think.
I think it's a trick question.
No, it's not a trick question. It's a very simple question. Are you being forced to do things in your life?
Predetermination, punishment, and still say someone.
You don't know the answer to the predetermination. You don't know the result of
predetermination. You can demonstrate free will scientifically, which you cannot.
Well, first and foremost, when you're trying to use scientific method to know God, I think you're using the wrong tool.
We're okay with that, but your God's all-knowing and it's predetermined.
Why are you discussing? Why are you discussing things of metaphysics and expecting scientific method to find that out? Don't you think that is the most? Don't you think that is the worst thing you can do by using the wrong tools to understand things of the metaphysics?
You're just not going anywhere because you agreed.
What?
You agreed to predeterminism. Therefore, you yourself deny free will.
And you're not answering my question for a reason because it goes against your thesis.
Your question is meaningless.
No, it is not meaningless. Did people force you to say things what you just said now?
It's not about people forcing me, it's about Allah being all-knowing.
Okay, did Allah force you? Wait. Did Allah force you to just say those words?
Before you were born.
Let me answer the question.
Go on.
It doesn't matter whether the entity that is all-knowing forces me. It matters that the entity knows what I will do.
Just answer the question. Have you been forced just now to say that?
Yes.
You have been forced?
Yes.
Okay, define force.
Gravity, everything around, all the forces.
No, not that kind of force.
It's the same force.
No, the force.
No, it's the same force, brother.
Oh, so you're saying the way you speak has got something to do with gravity?
And all the other forces.
Answer the question.
All the forces.
The way you speak.
All the forces.
The way you speak.
Yes, everything.
By the way, do you believe consciousness exists?
Yes.
Yes? Is that based on gravity?
Well, why are you picking
Answer the
one?
question.
Why are you picking one?
You said
force?
everything. Answer.
All forces.
Is your consciousness determined by the gravity?
Not by gravity, but all
Thank
forces.
you. I respect
all,
it.
No, you're
so what he
walking away
said,
now.
what he said, all forces.
All
Look,
forces.
What I meant by
force.
what I meant by force is not the
It's a
physical
factor.
force. It's not the physical force in that
Your
sense.
existence.
It's a force for you, your own volition. Yes.
No, he's talking about volition.
Your
He believes in
consciousness,
free will and
your
determinism.
consciousness has determined right now that you speak your mind.
No.
But his view.
You know, there's a point talking to this guy because he doesn't even know what
No,
consciousness
because
is.
you don't understand
Okay,
what you're
before-
saying.
tell
You're
me-
in a paradox.
Tell me what you understand by consciousness. Go on. Scientifically speaking.
Okay, well, I'll give you what we think we know so far, right?
Go on.
So we have two aspects to the brain here. So we have signals coming up from the bottom, sensory perception going into the brain,
Yeah.
and we have predictive information coming back out of the brain.
Okay.
So what we think consciousness is that predictive process.
Yeah.
So there are two different frequencies, so they can be measured. So there's two frequencies. There's frequencies coming up from our sensors, okay, bottom to top, and we've got top to bottom, which is our predictive based on past experience coming back. And we know this because we can do tests where we can fool the brain with the senses, and yet it will go with the prediction. So the
What
brain,
prediction?
So for instance, there's a test. It's a great little test I saw the other day,
Yeah.
where they you have your hands on the desk, okay, and they put a fake hand, so you can't see your own hand, right? So that's off to the side,
Okay.
and they put
Oh, the one they hit with the hammer?
well, you're coming to that, but they have
Okay.
two hands,
Yeah.
and they stroke your hand that you can't see and your hand, this fake hand.
Yeah.
So your brain predictively thinks that this hand is your hand, and when you then stab or thump with a hammer, as you said, the fake hand, you react because you really think it's hit your real hand, and that's because your predictive consciousness feeds the truth, your truth, not your sensory perception, which is what they always believed. I mean, until like late in the 90s, they believed that it was all about sensory perception from the bottom to the top, and it's only in recent times that
Is that how you define consciousness? Seriously.
that's what neuroscientists at the moment have
But
got.
that's not consciousness.
Well, you're going to deny
That,
it.
no, I'm not denying that.
I'm giving you the best
You have-
that we got.
No, you have just given me an experiment of how your mind perceives things.
No,
That's all it. But that doesn't define
Ask him
consciousness.
to define it.
Okay, is consciousness material?
Ask him to define it. You define it.
Yes, it has a material aspect, yeah.
Which is what? Which matter is that?
Well, we can see these. What we can do is
No. Which matter is it?
What do you mean?
Which matter from chemistry is it?
In the brain.
Yeah, which one is it?
We can see them.
Which is it a chemical? Is it matter? Every matter.
Matter,
Which
yeah.
matter is that determines your consciousness?
I don't know. off the top
Exists.
of my head, but it says we can see it in the brain. We can monitor it.
You can see consciousness.
Yes, because when
Or you can
people
see your
are-
brain
when people are
activating-
in a vegetative state, we can see completely different.
I don't think you know the meaning of consciousness. You're telling me of the
think you're
activity.
giving me your meaning.
No. You're telling me about the activity of the brain. That's all you're telling me.
But that's all we got.
That's not what consciousness is.
That's scientific. That's
Oh
all
my
we've got.
God, he doesn't know what consciousness
Yeah,
is.
because you want to invent.
No, I don't want to
some
invent.
religious consciousness.
No, it's not a release.
how we
I'm telling you,
understand
if you think.
I'm giving you my
No,
best shot.
if
there.
you're telling me that
How you understand it?
if you're telling me that consciousness is how your brain activity functions, then you don't even know what consciousness is.
No. What you're saying is your definition is different. Fine.
Exactly.
You can have your definition.
Okay, so can you give me a scientific definition that everyone agrees
Ask him to
with
give
of
you
consciousness?
No, that's ridiculous.
Why not? Science defines everything.
that's
Science defines
ridiculous.
an
You
atom.
define it, you
If something is
define it.
material,
You
science
define
defines
it.
it.
You're saying I've got to give you a definition that everyone agrees with.
No,
That's a
science-
ludicrous thing. Even
scientists-
scientists don't agree.
Okay, so you don't have any scientists agreeing with the definition of consciousness.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of agreement, yeah.
Give me one definition, then go on.
They think it's this predictive nature of the brain.
Okay.
That they think that yields this prediction yields consciousness.
So you're saying that.
They used to believe it was to do with checking.
So you're telling me a child who has a brain.
They're not sure about babies.
Hold on. A child. I'm not talking about babies. What age is babies for you? 2 years and younger?
No, newborn babies, I'm saying.
Yeah,
They're not sure.
I'm talking about older than 2.
Right,
So
okay.
say toddlers. Do toddlers have consciousness?
Well, this is it. There's a problem here because they can't. No, don't laugh. Because seriously, it's an ethical issue.
You know
We
why?
can't test.
Look.
We can't
If
test
anyone
on
tells me
toddlers,
that,
right?
if anyone tells me consciousness is material, then they need to tell me what it's made of.
Brain matter.
I'm not asking you what your brain is made of. I'm asking you
No,
what
it's made of the
consciousness.
same things. It's in our brain. You're saying it's something.
He doesn't know what
external.
consciousness is. Honestly, he doesn't.